What is up, everybody? Thank you to the 25 of you that are in here already. This might be the first time you're seeing me, the FP Dawn face reveal, but happy to have you here and happy to be drafting here in the FPPL Pacific Division. We're about 15 minutes away here. Yeah, thanks for joining. If you have any questions, feel free to utilize the chat. I'll try and get around to answering any questions that I can in the chat. If you have any issues with the stream, my mic, take it easy on me because it's my first time streaming on FP, but definitely feel free to point it out and let me know how I do. So I've got 7th pick here out of 12. We got about 1, 2, 3, 4 people still not in the lobby yet, including first overall. So maybe they will auto draft somebody that's not Connor McDavid. Yes, Wicked. I am a real person. I'm not just a bot behind a screen, even though I do a lot of the back end stuff. Mike's a lot better on camera than I am, I would say, and Chris too. Do you have a merch shop yet? No, we don't. I know. I was thinking if you guys were gonna see this or not, but it is a sweater that I kind of had custom made by my girlfriend actually. So it was kind of a nice gift that she got me, and it's something we're looking into. Some shirts or hats. I think there'd be quite a few people that would be interested in it, but as of right now, we don't have anything yet. We still got a lot on our hands on just the fantasy side. Never mind the merch. Once the draft gets started, I won't be watching the stream. I don't want to steal all your picks. It's okay, Wicked. I'll take you. I'd rather have you in here and commenting and watching the stream. I don't care if you steal some picks. It's gonna happen because you're picking 8th and I'm picking 7th, so that's all right. Uzman, good to have you in here. Yeah, so I don't have too many different takes than what you've probably seen from Mike or Chris. We have a lot in common in terms of how we think about drafts and players. A lot of times you probably might ask Mike a question and myself or Chris will reply, or vice versa. You might ask me a question and the other people will reply. So we all have a lot of similar takes, and I don't think you're going to see too many surprises or crazy hot takes from me in this draft, but you never know at pick 7. So I got not too long of a wait like I would if I was picking 1, 2, or 3, or at the tail end of the draft. Even though I do prefer those, I'd rather have back-to-back picks pretty close. 10 to 12 is probably my ideal area to pick, just because you can kind of get 2 like potential first rounders in your first 2 picks. So I'd rather have like 2 top 15 players. I just think that's a one up on a lot of people. Yes, Wicked, stick around for sure. You guys have such a great team. Love the daily videos. So much value. Thanks a lot, Uzman. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I really appreciate it. All the feedback you guys give us, positive, even the negative stuff. We don't like it, but we use it as constructive criticism. So we try and adjust and minimize as much of that as possible. I saw you and Mike go opposite ways about Husso versus Grubauer. Yeah, I guess so. I think I'm a little bit more pro Husso than Mike is. I liked what he did in St. Louis a couple years ago, and I liked the start volume. So Grubauer didn't have crazy good start volume last year, even though his numbers were a lot better than the first season in Seattle. So I don't mind either of them as like a low end number 2 or a good number 3. I would definitely think I could be taking Husso here, especially if I end up punting goalies. But we'll see. I know goalies can be kind of important in this. Definitely drop a like, subscribe if you're not already. If it's your first time tuning into FP, then welcome, and happy to have you here following the channel. We got a lot of links in our bio in the description of the video and the stream, so you can check out our Discord, our other socials. We're on practically everything you can want. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, obviously, and then like the Twitter and Discords. We're also pretty active in Reddit too, and all in that fantasy hockey subreddit. So we're always ready to answer questions and kind of get involved and communicate about fantasy hockey in general. So raising awareness for it. Ooh, I got first overall pick. Not going to cheat by watching the stream. Exertion, you can go ahead and watch the stream. I don't care. So I understand some guys are going to get stolen, but that's the reality of streaming and doing a draft. So the content's important, I know. Where would you consider drafting Fantilli in a 7-keeper league? Oh, the keeper questions are tough when you don't have a good outlook on the league. I would say late for sure. I don't know if your 7 keepers are kind of heavy to rookies, if you have a minimum or maximum that you have to keep guys for. Not in a single digit round, so I would probably be taking him 10th or later. If you have a 10-man league, that's 70 guys kept. So yeah, maybe 9th or later kind of thing. I don't love him. I don't know if he's going to be immediately slotted into the 1C in Columbus, but he's definitely looked promising in preseason, so I expect him to make the team and kind of give Bedard a run for the money. What do you mean, Don? Goalies aren't important? They're not important. I just I don't prioritize goalies necessarily. If one falls to me and I think it's needed that I take him, then I will, kind of thing. Also utilizing our FP custom projections, so I'll be clicking around a little bit on them. I've got our stats plugged in. You can kind of see them on the screen there with the total fantasy points sorted. This is a great tool. I spent a lot of time making this with the other FP guys. So we got the trade analyzer, custom goalie, custom player projections. They're all in there. So it's through our Patreon. So pretty much the cost of a Starbucks coffee, you can get access to that essentially for the whole season. So you won't, if you kind of unsubscribe through the Patreon, you won't get updates that we make going forward, but you'll at least have those base ones at the start of the season. So definitely worth it. Yeah, it's pretty useful to have something when I'm streaming. I don't think I'm going to be necessarily clicking along kind of through all these check boxes to show who's been eliminated, just because it's a lot to keep up with. But if I wasn't streaming and just doing one with my buddies or one in a money league or a cash league, I would definitely be using that to see, who's the best available. So, are you guys doing a podcast this season? That would be lit. I think we did a couple podcasts. I know Noah and Mike did a lot last year. They're a little bit time consuming for us right now. We think like the videos are kind of the better like target area to focus on. So just kind of improving the videos to the best of our abilities and the content that we're doing right now. We've thought about a podcast, obviously, and we know there's a lot of good fantasy hockey podcasts out there, so it might be something we look into in the future. That's for sure. Wicked's got the spreadsheet up too. I don't have 2 screens. Yeah, 2 screens is definitely clutch for streaming and kind of just anything. I do a lot of Excel work, FP related and not, so I like 2 screens to kind of make the data entry easier. Sheldon, 9-player league, would you go for a tandem or fade goalies in general? This seems to be a really, really hot topic this year. We're just getting into just over 7 minutes now before the draft. Tandem goalies, there seems to be a lot of good options. Like I know New Jersey, Vegas, Boston, all these really strong teams with tandem goalie options that there's a little bit of a question mark going into the season. Personally, I don't love tandems. I think you're right away limiting your volume because let's say you go Vanacek and Schmid, you're not going to ever have a game where both of them are playing, right? So they're on the same team. They're not going to, if one does play, it's usually because one played bad and got pulled. So I'm not a huge fan of the tandem goalies. It does work in some where like wins are a priority and kind of getting those good team goalies. But I would rather just, if I'm taking 2 goalies, I'd rather just go with like a clear number 1 and then kind of those like Husso, Grubauer range of goalies that are the number 1 on the team, but maybe not like those top round guys that I really have to reach on. Videos have always been an instant clock for a fancy hockey head like me. Great thumbnails and concepts. Thank you. Thanks again, Usman. Yeah, Mike and Clarky, Chris, I guess we call him Clarky, but Mike and Chris, they spend a lot of time on the videos. They're definitely perfecting it more and more each time. So I'm also blown away a lot at the video quality. So I don't have too much familiarity with it, but I'm glad you guys are liking it. Tandem on a very good defensive team I like, not in the league, with volume stats and save. Yeah, there's definitely situations that tandems are good and tandems are not good, I guess. I've always kind of not been driven toward the tandem. If it, a lot of times you can end up making a tandem later on in the season through like a waiver claim, right? So I remember there was a stretch where like Scott Wedgwood, for example, was making a lot of starts in Dallas. Not a lot, but more than like kind of 1 week that he would normally get with Ottinger last season, and I ended up picking him up in a league. Dallas is always good for a couple wins, so you can kind of make tandems with streamers and kind of solidify that team's week. Please holler if you have a league. Yep, yeah. Discord's a good spot for league invites. I see Blind Doom. You're asking for a league, so yeah, that's good to see you in the Discord. Feel free if you have a league that you want members in, or you're looking to join one. There's always channels in there that you can join. 12-man league. Yep, this is a 12-man league. I'll run through a little bit more of this. Actually, I haven't really talked too much about the actual league. Yeah, so there's 12 teams. Looks like all but again Jeremiah is in, so we're not going to have any auto drafters hopefully. Let's go through the settings here. So league settings, we got 2 centers, 2 left wing, 2 right wing, 4D, a utility spot, which I really like having one of those, 2 goalies, and 4 bench. I think there's also 3 IR plus spots, so a little bit of flexibility with the injuries there, which is good too. So guys, don't. I'm helping out my other drafters, but don't be afraid to draft guys that have an IR or an NA because you got a spot to put them and you can pick someone up. Pretty standard. We didn't really change any category points. We did. I think Noah removed plus minus and added power play points, which is good, and I like that. Plus minus is not a good stat because it just completely takes away from sleepers on bad teams, right? So utility wise, I was saying I really like having one of those. You can kind of be situational with it. So let's say I'm playing like Link's team here, for example, and maybe he has like Truba and Gudis on D. So he's got some really good banger players. Then maybe I'm gonna put my equivalent in on that utility spot for the week I play Link, right? So you can kind of use it strategically and put who you want there. I'm assuming most of us are going to be putting a forward there just because of how deep they are this year, but you never know, right? So just over 3 minutes for the draft. What are we saying here? Working the wires, so essential. Yes, it is. I wake up every morning and check my fantasy teams in a lot of sports. So Carolina goalies last year, that tandem changed weekly. Yeah, that's a good example, Wicked. So they had Koch, Anderson, and Ranta, and again, there's still question marks this year. I assume Anderson's going to get the crease to start, but we all know about his injury concerns. He's aging too. He's got to be in his like early to mid 30s now. Ranta's the same, but again, I think I used Ranta in a couple leagues too, just for weekly stream. Canucks is good luck, Dawn. We had a nail biter semi last year in our FP league. I didn't. Oh, that's good. You're in the first one. So yeah, we kind of did some trial runs before this FPPL before we kicked this off last year, and we just did some general like FP leagues, kind of first come first serve, and it was a good starter. Didn't want to draw you in the playoffs, given yeah, I can't remember how I did in that league. I was in so many last year, and I am this year too, but. Is it Shabbat or Chikrin on PP1? I'm going to guess Shabbat, but again, that's kind of one of those teams that we don't have a definitive answer. It could be Chikrin, it could be Shabbat, it also could be Sanderson, right? So I assume Shabbat's going to kind of get the start just because he's their guy there. He's been kind of the lifelong senator so far. Nate picked 12. Okay, yeah, Nate's 12th. Do we have an NA spot? I'm not too sure about the NA spot. I don't think, I'm not 100% sure about that. It wasn't in the settings. I'd have to check that after. I don't really want to leave the lobby with a minute to go. Is utility spot the same as flex spot? Yes, you can put any position there other than goalie, obviously, but it's just like the flex spot if you guys do fantasy football. It's points. Yep. Yeah, it's head-to-head points. Freddie's Band-Aid, yes, injury prone for sure. Sorokin went over McDavid in a draft I did last week. Jeremy said that. Can I join that league, Jeremy? Because that's sounds like some easy money for you if you're watching the FP vids weekly. So McDavid's pretty much the consensus number one pick and should be in really any league unless goalies are way too superior. Which goalies should I drop out of Markstrom, Knight, Schmid, and Grubauer? I don't like to carry 4 goalies. Yeah, I don't like carrying 4 either, I'd say. I would. I know a lot of the FP guys like Chris and Mike, they like Knight a lot and they like a bounce back year for him. I'm not too sold on him just because I don't look at Bob's playoff run. So I know he's got his issues too and can't be relied on for a full season. But Knight's probably who I would say. Knight, yeah. What's up, Daily Dose? Good to see you. All right, we're gonna get started. Jeremiah's still on auto draft, which I don't like to see. It's gonna be McDavid. All right, nothing too surprising. You never know if some guys go in and change their rankings, so it's good to see that there was no league ruining pick at first overall. I gotta see who I'm gonna take too. I usually just kind of see who falls to me. Yeah, McKinnon just went 4th. Probably gonna have this kind of crop right here. So this Cooch, Robertson, Rantanen. I have a favorite out of the 3 of them, and I will take him if it gets to that guy. But we'll see what Bry Guy and Korn do. Don't take my guy. It's gonna happen, Wicked. I'm gonna take some guys you want, and you're gonna take some guys I want. So. Bry Guy running the clock out to 1 second before he takes Matt Tkachuk. I will usually make my queue. Okay, good. Korn went Makar. I was hoping Rantanen wouldn't get taken there, so I'm going to probably go Rantanen. Right wing is so scarce. If you watched the FP Creator League last night, you would have saw Chris's stream and how quickly right wing fades. So I know he was getting kind of criticized for taking Patty Kane, but hey, he's a right winger, so if he comes back, like that's value right there. So let's go Rantanen here. Help out the winger position. Well, I'll show the draft board here. So 4 centers to start. That's really not a surprise, that order. That's exactly the order that I would be going in and everyone else as well. So past that 8, I hope Wicked you got your guy. I like Past a lot too. Could easily score 50, 60 again this year. A little more hesitant on him because of the loss of Bergeron, Krejci, and Hall even too. But he's Past. He's gonna get you like 350 plus shots. So I think that's pronounced cucumbers. He takes Q's 9th overall. I'm gonna say it's Q. Nick's up right now. It's a world-class team. Goes J-Rob. Good pick there at 10. Could have easily taken him even at my spot at 7. So Brady goes at 11. And Kirill the Thrill at 12. And then Yossi goes 13. So that's pretty high for Yossi. But, he's, top 3 fantasy D, so I don't really have any complaints there. And that's a good turn. Kirill and Yossi, you solidify a forward and a D. Okay, let me check the chat here. It's tough to follow both. Mike was warning me about it, and he's not wrong. It's tough to follow everything. You got to follow the picks. You got to follow your own queue and kind of your own guys as well as the chat and the stream. So give him credit for hosting all of these. And Chris too. Which team do you cheer for? I would say I'm a Leafs fan, but I'm very non-biased. So Chris is a lot more diehard than I am. I've been a Leafs fan as long as I can remember, but I'll watch any hockey game. I'll cheer for any team. So except the Habs, I'm not a Habs fan. Rant over Pasta. Yeah. I'm gonna take Rant there. I like the team better this year, and that the chemistry he can have with Mac. So that's kind of the big reason there. Marchand isn't the Marchand he used to be, so I don't even think Pasta plays with him much except for the power play. All right, so here's a kind of a tough spot now. Like I don't really want to pick a goalie, but they are aplenty here. Timmy Stew is there too. I should probably sort properly. JT Miller's another good one for this league. I think I'm gonna go Miller. I really wanted Miller last night in the Creators League, and Apples and Gino stole him from me, so I'm gonna take him. I got 2 right wingers now. Stu is also a good pick. Meyer's a good pick. I should have sorted probably before I had 30 seconds left. There goes Stu. So Corn takes Stu right after me. Kyle Connor's going to be an interest. I'm pretty curious to see how he does this year. We know he's capable of like 40 plus goals. Just not sure what Winnipeg's going to do this year. They're one of those teams where Hellebuck's too good for the team in front of him. So aside from Morrissey, they really drop off in terms of their skill. So Pionk is not really a number 2. But we'll see how they do this year. I still like their top 6 is still fine, especially if Ehlers is in there. All right, let me go back to the board here. So after my Miller pick, we had Stu. Marner goes at the 2-8 spot. Meyer, another great bangers guy, shots guy. Dahlin goes. That's a good pick there. I like Dahlin. I have to start looking at some D2. And then Link's on the clock here. So I'm gonna take a look at the D. I might have a turn. I might have a chance to get these guys on the turnaround, but I don't really want to queue any of these guys here because they're probably, at least Dougie and Sider might go. I like Sider. I like Petro a lot this year. Still think he's going to be the kind of physical offensive guy. He's pretty much like an older Dahlin. Heiskanen's good too, so I'm gonna queue Heisk. Bouchard's going to get taken pretty early, I want to say. Fox, I'm a big fan of Fox in points leagues, right? Like he's probably gonna finish top 3 in defenseman points this year. We saw we see he's projected for 72. He doesn't shoot a ton. He doesn't really hit a ton. So I can't take him unless he falls to me in maybe like the 4th or later rounds. But we'll see. We'll see how he goes. I also like DeBrincat a lot too. I'm excited to see what he can do on Detroit. Jeremiah, he's in the league. He's back in the lobby now, so that's good that he's picking and not auto drafting. Everyone's here. All right, so after Dahlin, we saw Barkov back-to-back centers with Crosby, and Jeremiah's still on the clock here. We'll see who he goes with after a center. This area is right here, kind of like I'm gonna say like the 4th and 5th rounds. There's a lot of great value that really could easily be like late second, 3rd round value, right? So like Panarin, he's been going 2nd round or even earlier in previous years. John Carlson, Stamkos. There goes Dougie. So glad I didn't queue him. That would have been a waste of time. Back-to-back D here. So we've seen 5 D go now. Makar, Yossi, Dahlin, Carlson, and Dougie. I guess Carlson's probably the only one that stands out to me as a surprise in the top 5. But, I know FP's hyped him up a ton. We all like him to kind of outperform his ADP. So he's a good pick. He's going to be on the ice with Ovi every power play goal. So, okay, I think that's our first goalie. Yeah, it is Saros. Interesting. So, yeah, I think I'll flash our goalie stats in this. It was -3 points for a goal against, but 0.6 for saves. So there is some value in volume there. I don't mind Saros at all. I'm not sure if he's going to get the wins that someone like, Shesterkin or even a healthy Vasilevsky would have got, but I like Saros a lot. He's kind of in the same boat as Hellebuck, where the D might not be top quality the whole season, and he's going to see a lot of shot volume. All right, let me make this pick, and I'll get to some of the chat. Pasta, why not pasta? Yeah, a lot of people talking about that pasta pick. Okay, who are we going here? I'm going to probably go back to DeBrincat. I took him in the second round last night when I was picking first, so I had the very last pick of the second round, and I had to take him because Miller got stolen. I could go with a D here, or a goalie here. I like Sorokin a lot too, and he kind of fits the mold of the volume kind of goalie. Not going to be a ton of wins, I don't think. 31's doable. He's going to see a lot of starts. Okay, I'm gonna go with DeBrincat. I like the shots there, and I got one of each position so far. So DeBrincat's got that dual eligibility too. Igor just went by Wicked. That's a good pick. I'd probably have him above Sorokin. I think our goalie stats do too. Sorokin we had third. Saros we actually had second. He went before Shesterkin, so that's a good pick by Wicked. All right, let me put this back up. Bruins solid team. Yep. I do think Pass is going to be a great pick this year, and he's definitely a first rounder. I'm just taking Rantanen's team and who he's playing with. I like McKinnon a little bit better than Zaka. Anyone else's video quality scuffed? I don't like to hear that. Hopefully it's not on my end. If you guys are seeing it a lot, then definitely let me know. Would you take Pasta or Kachuk? Probably Kachuk in this league because of his like peripherals. Matt or Brady? Probably Matt because of his point production. Brady's still kind of in that 80-ish range, which is good, but Matt we've seen top 100. Miller was my second rounder, very complete player. I agree. I think I heard some kind of negative reports in preseason about him where he wasn't looking up to speed, but hopefully that changes when the season starts. Yeah, I did take DeBrincat earlier than I would have liked, but when the pick before you takes the guy you want, you kind of have to panic, unless you're in like a minute or a minute 30. So, all right, we see a string of D here go. So, Seider, Heiskanen, Sergachev, and Hedman. So I really have to pick a D now. I've pretty much settled on 3 forwards in each of the 3 categories, which is great, but the D are gonna thin out soon, as we all know. Video was fine. Okay, thank you for confirming. What's up, Seth? Good to have you in here. This is kind of the trouble area with the D. Okay. No plus minus, so I like Seth Jones here, but I don't think I want to take him as my number 1. We're up to about 90 viewers in the stream, so thanks all for coming out here. Definitely leave a like, subscribe if you haven't. Okay, we see Carlson go the pick before, Kyle Connor, who I was talking about earlier, at 40. Okay, so I'm gonna go with Bouchard, even though I'd rather not have him as my number 1, but I think he's probably gonna be PP1, and that value with McDavid and the PP they have. Like we saw Nuge have an explosion of a season last year, so we know it's doable. He had a great playoff too, Bouchard. So I'm going to take him earlier than I would like, but as I said, I kind of let the D slide away, so I gotta solidify that. I know who I'm going to take at the turn if he's still there, but I don't think he's going to be there. I would have taken a D there, honestly, instead of the Cat. Yeah, I know. We'll see if I regret that. I like the DeBrincat possibility of 40 goals with playing with Larkin. His comments, I think, kind of showed that his head and his mentality might not have been there in Ottawa. Maybe he wasn't happy with his minutes and his line mates. But I think he has no excuse now. He wanted to go to Detroit, from what I know, and he's got it. So not really a make or break year, but if he wants to kind of stay in that elite category of a sniper, then he's got to put up like 35 plus here. Who would you take between Hintz and Boldy? Goals, Boldy. I like Boldy a lot, and I think one of Mike's vids most recently talked about how Hintz is kind of not a great bangers guy. He doesn't really do a lot. The points are there, and the points, like Dallas 1 is one of the best lines in hockey with Pavelski and J-Rob, but Hintz himself, he doesn't really shoot, hit, or block a ton, so I would take Boldy and kind of his high ceiling. You think they'll add more positions to players once more? I really hope so, Mr. Grosh. I know they've kind of progressively been adding and changing the position eligibility recently, and I hope they kind of have one or two more big fixes. Their most recent one was on a lot of players that were not fantasy relevant at all. I think the most like prominent name was like Sharon Govich, but I hope they do at least one or two more because there's definitely some like arguments to be made about some guys. Sider, Sergachev, or Hedman. Do you think Serg or Hedman takes PP1? Okay, so first that list of three, I would probably put them in the order you have them in. Sergachev and Sider are very interchangeable, but Sergachev's on a better team. So I'm going to say Serg takes PP1. I think they're going to try and work Hedman back in more at 5-on-5 than on the power play, but you never know. They might kind of do both too. So we saw a little bit of flip-flopping last year. Don, we have our eye on a lot of the same guy next, but you picked before me. I haven't talked about him very often, and it's only kind of because of recent news as to why I'm on him, but we will see who's last. So Bedard's still there, not surprising. Okay, Quinn Hughes just went. That was a guy that was who I was probably going to take next, so I heard he's added some extra velocity to his shot, and he's kind of focusing on shooting more. So that was kind of a thing that we were a little skeptical about him this year, especially in peripheral leagues. It's like, is he going to just be an assist guy on the power play, or is he going to do a little bit more to make him that like top 8-ish D? So Hughes went, so I have to kind of find another D if I want to pick a D here. Svetch at 44, reach in Bangers Cat League. Nope, not a reach at all. 4th round, 44, whatever is fine. Worst part of drafting, waiting to pick. Yes, it is. It is. At least I'm not on the end and having to wait like 22 picks, but yes, waiting's no fun. Serg will take PP1. He looked way better than Hedman last year. I agree. I think Serg's going to be the PP guy this year. Given how they fill categories, even though it's early, I like the Hedman Serg stack last round. Did someone go Hedman Serg? Oh, they did right at the turn 8. Okay, yeah, I agree. I like that. Again, the only problem is that you're not going to get a power play point together, right? So it's very unlikely they're going to be on the power play at the same time. So you're kind of already in a very small sense limiting your point possibilities. All right, so we see a lot more Ds go, which is not surprising. I know the FP crew is aware of the D thinning out, and they went hard on them in the past 2 rounds. Hugh Boldy, who we were just talking about, Jack Eichel, and Bry Guy goes Aho. So I got Aho really, really late last night. I got him with my 7th round pick, I want to say. I didn't even really need a center. He went in my utility spot, but it was too good to pass up, right? We're talking about Carolina, who's going to be a top team again. Okay, let's look at who I got here. So, okay, Hyman, that's a good pick there. Let's see. I could go with a goalie here, and I could go with a D. There's not a... Jones is still there, too. I don't really like Jones enough to take him. Petro's a good number 2 D, I think. Goalie-wise, who are we looking at here? Vash, Allmark, Swayman. So I either have to go with kind of one of those tandems, or I take Gustafsson. Don't think Fleury's the guy anymore. I think Gus is going to kind of take the crease, and I'm still confident in Minnesota's defense. So I'll take a goalie here with Gustafsson. Still a lot of like quality goalies left, so I'm not worried about my second goalie, but we're getting into the kind of tandem territory that I was talking about, where it's a couple Boston guys, a couple New Jersey guys, a couple Ottawa guys. So I'd rather get at least one guy that I can rely on to see like 65, 70+% of the crease. Oh, you went Breadman. Okay, I like that pick there. So let's take a look at some of these teams here. So Jeremiah, he had first overall McDavid, so loaded up on his centers and left wings early. Doesn't have a goalie yet, but Keller, where did Keller go? It's probably a little early. Keller at 412. Interesting. Yeah, it's probably a little bit early for me, but I see the intrigue in Arizona this year. So Svetch goes at 58. That's a great pick. I'm gonna probably start loading my queue a little bit. I know it's covered by my face, so that's a good thing. But if you guys see a couple, it's not a big deal. They're gonna go. So early for Gus. Yeah, yeah. I, uh, Gus is probably not even in my top like 6 or 7 goalies, but we were running out of goalies that I was saying are kind of solidified number ones, and I would put Gus in that category. As I said, Fleury is up there in age. I don't think he's going to be kind of relevant anymore. So we see Demko go. Kempe goes kind of early for Kempe, but I do like him a lot. So that's too bad to see him go there. Demko, JT, who I was kind of avoiding this year just because of the rumors from camp of him maybe being third line, maybe being on the wing. So, the wing eligibility would be nice, but, he's not. If he's not being taken as a top 6 guy, then I would kind of avoid him unless he fell. There goes Petro, so that's a good pick. I'm probably going to go back to a D here. Maybe I'm not. Just looking at my queue and looking at who's available, I don't know if I can go to a D yet. Nuge, good pick for power play points. He's kind of got a high floor. Yeah, like he's not gonna have a bust of a year. So he sure goes, and I'm on the clock now. I didn't mean to. So I like Gensel. I know he's only going to be out for a little bit, and he's still playing like top line with Crosby. So I think he's kind of who I'm going to lean to. Fiala's still there. I like Fiala still. There's a lot, kind of similar to New Jersey. There's a lot of mouths to feed, so I'm going to go with Gensel here. So I'll miss him for the first week. So who's ever playing me week 1, you got lucky. But I will hopefully have him back kind of week 2, week 3, where I can start kind of automatically playing him. Would Heiskanen at 31 be too high? Probably depends on which other D have gone. So Yossi kind of went early in this league, and that kind of triggered some more D in round 3. But Heiskanen, no, I don't think it would be third round kind of thing. Third, fourth round for Heisk is fine. We saw Carlson and Yossi go a little earlier than we would expect, so it depends what your league's saying about D. Yep, James, you're right. Kind of what I was saying. Depends on what other D have gone. So we're kind of into an area of the draft that I don't love because I kind of just have to wait and see who falls. Like there's a couple picks I was saying last night. Aho, even Huberto that I wasn't really going out targeting, but if they're going to fall to me, I have to take them. So those were two examples of guys that are kind of around this area now that I don't really have a ton of guys in mind where they're must drafts, but if they fall to me, they fall. So there goes Bedard and Kevin F. So FP's boy Fiala. Bedard there 6'10". That's fine. That's pretty expected for redraft leagues. So hey, I want him to have a good year. So it's time for some D, man. I agree. Once I kind of missed out on the elite number ones, I figured I would just kind of wait on them, but I'm definitely going to look into a D here. Makar, Yossi, Deline, Dougie, Serg, Fox, Sider in that order. Then I picked Heiss. Yep, that's fine then. So we see a lot of them have gone there. 7. So eighth D off the board for Heiss is definitely fine. Only we start 4D, so and given that there's hits and blocks, you can kind of get away with one of your D kind of just strictly being that. It's not ideal, but if it comes to that, which mine might come to, then it's not the end of the world to see your fourth D kind of just be like a Ferrari or even a Gudis that are just there for like those banger cats. We see that Werenski go at 72. That's good to see. That's fair. Seth Jones is still there. Trouba. I don't mind Letang even with Erik Karlsson there, but I'm wondering what kind of role they have in mind for Letang. Strictly points league, Doughty or Werenski? Who do you prefer? Werenski. Werenski's gonna be the guy in Columbus until he gets hurt, so you can rely on points from him. I saw Provorov was actually playing PP2 in Columbus, or taking reps there. So, not that he's gonna threaten Werenski for his job, but if Werenski does get hurt, which we've seen him do a lot, then Provorov seems to be the guy next in line. So two guys that I had queued just go back to back. Reinhardt and Kane, both good picks. Reinhardt gets slept on a lot. He was, I think, ranked 8th last year in the NHL in power play time on ice. So anyone who's getting those opportunities is someone I would be targeting. There goes Dobson, so another D off the board. I'm going to definitely take a D here. I'll see who Bry Guy and Korn take. For those who are just joining, I'll quickly run you through my team. So I went Rantanen in the first, get that right winger. Then I went JT Miller, who's got the dual eligibility, great hitting and scoring forward. He was one of 2 forwards last year with 200 plus hits and 80 plus points. So the obvious other one was Brady Tkachuk, but Miller is pretty elite when it comes to a banger league. Then I went to Brinkett at 3. So a lot of people said I should have gone a D, which I agree with, but I like the Brinkett's goal upside too much. He's going to be on the power play. He's going to get those shots on goal, and he's projected for, I guess, 100 plus hits, so that's a bonus as well. So Seth Jones go. I probably would have taken him. I gotta see. I like Dunn here. I think I'm probably gonna take Dunn just because I think he's got no competition for Seattle's PP1. He was kind of broke out last year, so I do like Vince Dunn here. He's probably not the most ideal D2, but don't trust Hughes yet. And yeah, I gotta get some more offense from my D. Okay, drafting at 12, Hill, Thompson, or Talbot and Copley. Hill Thompson. Vegas has just won the cup, so hopefully JT Miller gets left wing back. Yeah, that would be great. All three, sure. I would love that. Don, great to see you part of the YouTube videos. Thanks a lot, Migs. Good to see you on here too. I'm happy to be around and happy to, so far so good in my first stream. Got Miller at 12 in a Cats league. It's a steal in my opinion as Vancouver's gotten better. He's projected second in that league. Wow, that's must be very much valuing hits. But 12, if you think it's a steal, that's great. I mean, in a normal league, I wouldn't say that's necessarily a steal, but every league is different. What do you think about Zaka later in the draft, last couple picks? Yeah, I like Zach. He's a good center to throw on your bench. You can kind of plug and play him as the week. If Boston's got some good matchups, then I like him. He's gonna be centering a good line. So, how about Letang since he's still PP1? RHS Dragon. I don't know if he's gonna be PP1, right? So Erik Karlsson, they did not sign him for his defense. I can tell you that. So. I don't know what their plan is with it. If they're going to immediately throw him on PP2, that's a high price to pay for him financially and like kind of with what they gave up for him if they don't plan to use him to his full potential. There goes Trouba. That's a good pick at 86. That's obviously a hit and block goat. Don't forget Theodore. Yeah, I like Theodore too. I didn't talk about him because I was someone I was looking at. If you don't get Petro, I like Theodore too because he's going to either do the same or just a little bit less than Petro. They said he is together PP1 with EK. Okay, so if he's... I'd be shocked if they do that even when Gensel comes back. They might start with EK and Letang on PP1, but it's kind of gone... The trend in the NHL is kind of doing as many offensive forwards as you can, so... Yeah, there you go, Canucks. So he's thinking what I'm thinking. After 5-ish games, when Gensel comes back, we'll see who takes over. It might just be a play for it kind of idea. If one stands out more, then they might get it. Yeah, I think I've seen that they are running Letang. Yeah, okay, so we've seen a couple of the same info. So I'm hearing it's 2D. Would you consider OEL near the end being on PP1? Yep. I will come back to you, Cody. I'm just going to pick here. Okay, so luckily I have a couple guys queued up. Let me see who kind of... So I like Marchessault. Might be a little early for him. I also like Shea Theodore, even though he's probably a little early for him. I'm going to go Marchessault. I like the team. He's a good volume shot guy, and he plays a scarce position. So if I was going to have too many at one position, it would be right wing. Lindholm, Elias, or Eriksson Ek. Oh, that's tough. I would say Eriksson Ek. Lindholm might finish with more points, but Jeek is just kind of the category coverer. So he'll cover more categories for you, especially in face-off win leagues. He takes a lot of important draws for Minnesota. Elias Lindholm, one thing I do like about him, and I was thinking of making like a TikTok for FP about it, is he's in a contract year, I believe. So there's always kind of that like thinking that players kind of play with a little bit more intensity and drive in a contract year because, you know, a lot of money's on the line. So if they have a bad season, they're literally costing themselves like tens of millions of dollars, especially in Lindholm's case where he could easily kind of make, you know, in that 7 to 8 plus range. All right, so Markstrom goes. We'll flash the results. So I took Dunn and then Marchessault, and after Marchessault, we saw Batherson go, Letang. So there's that Letang that we were talking about. Patrick Laine, Jacob Markstrom, and Link is on the clock. Batherson's been kind of a hot topic too, so I like Batherson. I like Ottawa a little bit more this year, but we also saw them add Tarasenko, so I'm not sure if the kind of he's going to be touching the puck a little bit more. Tarasenko, I know he's got a good shot. He kind of specialized with that in St. Louis, so puck might be going through him a little bit more and maybe Batherson a little less. And then we also know about the Team Canada, I guess, news that's gone on, so don't really want to damper the mood with Team Canada talk, but um, there's potential he's involved in it, so I've kind of been staying away from him just at the off chance he is. But again, Ottawa's proceeding as normal, so there's no reason to think he has anything to do with it. Did Caulfield go? I have not. Yes, he has gone. He's in NA too. So plus minus, I think I rather him than Marchessault. Yep. But we also have not seen really a healthy Caulfield for a full season yet, so I'm still a little skeptical on Caulfield. I like his potential. He's shown me that he can stick in the NHL. I had some concerns about obviously his size and whether or not he could kind of be the offensive guy that Montreal expected, but he's proved me wrong already, so maybe he'll prove me wrong again with that. Heard anything? Who is getting more starts in LA for goalies? I have not. I kind of throw them into the bottom of the tandem rankings. I like LA a lot as a team, and I think that's the only reason you're taking those goalies because of the team in front of them. So there's the potential for wins, which we saw with Kopp last year. So he had a great record and a lot better than his record kind of should have been given his performance. He was really good and kind of a savior for LA in a sense, but he didn't necessarily. He won a lot of games that were like letting in 4 or 5. I think he even had a win where he let in like 6 goals or something. So the offense on that team bailed him out a lot, which you can't fault him for. But that kind of concerns me with that tandem. I have not heard any confirmation though. Should I drop Talbot for Grubauer in a points league? Have Markstrom as my other goalie? Yep, Migs, I would take Grubauer over Talbot. You're getting that volume and that start share that you can't guarantee from either of the LA Kings goalies. Theodore goes at 100. That's 3 picks before mine. I was going to take him. I have to now look elsewhere. So Taze is still there. I don't really want to take him. D'Angelo's still there and has a good option for, I guess, some offense. Could maybe wait. I just went with Dunn, and I don't know if I love any D here. What do you guys think? You guys thinking a D here? There's kind of limited options on the board. Skinner goes. Guy takes Skinner. Anderson's still there. We all kind of are buying into a Calgary rejuvenation. So Anderson, yeah. I'm thinking he's probably going to be the guy. I do like Beniers as well. I like kind of what he did in his rookie season. I think he's not getting enough credit for it because all the rookie talk and young talk goes right to Bedard. But yeah, let's go with Anderson. I like Calgary this year. He's good source of blocks as well. Yeah. They have D'Angelo on PP1. Yeah, D'Angelo I think is he's Carolina now, so no need to worry on Calgary. So there goes Bratt, right after Natchez. Matheson next 2 to 3 rounds. Yep, Matheson's a good late pick for D. I don't know if I want to go with another D here. I have some forwards I want to target, but he's definitely a good pick. I agree in 2 to 3 rounds though. I'm not going to touch him yet. Foley's still there, Trocheck's still there, both good guys for this kind of league. Toffoli with the high shots, Trocheck with the peripherals. Huberdeau goes at 107. I like that a lot. That's a good kind of buy low, I guess. Ricard Raquel, Beniers is still there. I told you I liked him. Owen Tippett's still there. I took him last night. I think I had him in a couple leagues last year too, but I did not draft him. I kind of just picked him up when we saw him being fantasy relevant. What about Verhage getting PP1 time now? Yeah, I like Verhage. He like kind of goes not untalked about because of all the Florida firepower. But yeah, he's pretty safe and consistent. He doesn't really jump off the page yet to me yet. So there goes Beniers. I should stop talking about guys I like. I kind of think Cousins is in the same range as Beniers, where if you miss out on one, you can kind of pivot to the other. No, not Rust. Slow down a lot. No PP1. I just queued him up for the later in the draft, so I'm not taking him anytime soon. I think he went. I took him the second last pick of my draft yesterday. I like the right wing eligibility, and he's on a good team, so he's a good bet for 20 goals. I gotta check on the goalie situation here. Jari's still there. He's a should be good source of volume. Kemper again is probably going to be the guy in Washington. Don't love Washington this year, but Bob is there too. So I got Gus. I don't know if I want to take a goalie here yet. I do have at least 2 goalies in mind that I don't mind, but let's go with Forsberg because I do like him, and that NA means nothing. Good time for Jeek. Yep. He's kind of in the same boat as Trocheck for me. So center is very deep. I'm in no rush to fill up my centers, but yeah, Jeek's a great option. 20 power play points he's projected for. I like Velarde late as a right winger, line 1. Yeah, I also like Velarde too. He had a great start last year, and that kind of put him on the map for fantasy managers. He slowed down a lot after the first month to almost becoming a drop candidate, but he still had a good year analytically. So I still like him, and I like this new opportunity here. So they seem to be willing to give him an opportunity, but Ehlers, nope. Don't even think about touching the top 6 Ehlers. Power play one time, not a chance. Yeah, I got Trocheck my bangers. Yep, Trocheck's a great bench center, so he gets slept on a lot. You can even put him as your number 2. Yes, I agree, Seth. I'd take him over Rust any day. Velarde, yeah. They're kind of late round flyers, so I guess the opportunity is a little more interesting for Velarde than Rust, but we also don't know if that line is permanent for Velarde or just kind of to fit him in nicely. So we see Forsberg go by me. Toffoli goes. That's a good pick. Still good shot volume. He's going to probably get 25-30 easily. McCann goes, so former 40-goal scorer. Zuccarello. Don't love him in these kind of in fantasy. He doesn't really do a whole lot except get assists. Forsling goes, so I think Ezra is your name. You are kind of banking on Forsling being the PP1 guy and the OEL rumors not being a thing. Then we go back-to-back goalies, Kemper and Stuart Skinner. So I like Skinner. Obviously, FP was on Skinner kind of last year as being a guy. Like, he was one of Mike's favorites. We were all kind of on him. So still a fan of Skinner. He's just not really like the deep sleeper that he was last year. But he should see the start share that Campbell had last year at the start. We're up to still 70-80 people in the stream, so don't forget to hit that like button. It helps us out a lot. Always appreciate the FP community's support. Team's going okay so far. Couple picks I don't love, but again, you can't win a league on the draft. A lot of it comes down to waivers and free agency, so I'm prepared to put my hours in on that. There goes Matheson. Lev. Matheson's in your name. I think you brought that up earlier. Levi, that's a good pick. Definitely a goalie I was looking at. Then goes Luke Hughes. So I don't want to say it, but I guess because both of them are available, Jeek and Trocheck are there. Don't mind either of them right now. I could use another center. Not desperate for it, but could use it. We see Sanderson's there still. Again, I'm open to taking him. No one else really jumping out at me. We're past that point with the D. There's Feavari, Banger's Machine, Hakanpää, same deal, but I don't think I'm going to touch him in this league. Only 12 teams. Swayman's still there. Freddie's still there. I might have to take a goalie here. No, I'm not going to. I'll pass. So Jeek's there. I'm probably going to take Jeek. He's kind of improved every year, I'm pretty sure. So we know he can do 30. Going to be on the power play. I got his goalie and Gus, so I think I'll go Jeek here. So there goes Sanderson. Wicked, you're lucky I didn't take him. I mentioned him. I agree, but unfortunately I play with a bunch of Wild fans, so Jeek went early. That sucks, but you know I would pick up a couple Wild guys here or there and try and get high value for them. Is Patrick Kane playing start of season? Unless he signs like tonight or tomorrow, Cody, I don't think he's gonna play. He should play at some point this year, but who knows when that's gonna be. I think teams are a little hesitant to sign probably for his asking price, so there's some reluctancy there. Yep, Canuck, you got it right. Needs a team. Nope, I don't think he's injured. So I think his agent or someone posted him kind of doing some drills and skating just by himself, kind of as a showcase video, just to show like, hey, he's not hurt. So Kadri's still there too. I like him as well. He's kind of in the same boat as Eriksson Ek for me. I do have to look at D still. Let's see. Keandre Miller's there. I like him to build off of last year. He's got Trouba there to teach him the ways on hits and blocks, and he's got Fox there to teach him the way on points. So, I would say he's probably going to get some power play time this year. Maybe not over Fox, but injuries happen. So, got word you were going to take Sanderson. Yeah, I was thinking about it. I like Sanderson a lot, so he's not quite there for me fantasy-wise, but I love watching him play, and I've got a soft spot for Ottawa. Should I take Vasi in our 9th round? Yeah, I mean, if you have a capable goalie already, I don't mind Vass. So he's going to come back eventually, and I think Tampa, unless they do something like they did with Kucherov and things delay, then he's going to come back. So I'm just surprised nobody has went to say screw it on him. Yeah, I mean, I think people are just scared that the news is really recent, so he's in people's heads as being out 8 to 10 weeks, which is a lengthy time, and as well what the injury was, right? So it's a back injury. I don't know necessarily the stat for hockey, but in baseball, back injuries are one of the hardest to come back from. So there's definitely a little bit of concern there, especially he's not in his like early 20s. So okay. I'm going to take Husso here. Don't really love him, but I do think Detroit made improvements this year, and I need another goalie. So worst case, I can grab one of these like Grubauers or kind of the tandem guys that I think can get a percentage of the starts and start them when I need them. I got Saros and thought it might not be a bad option. With Saros, it's kind of a tough spot because you have a really good goalie already. So like you don't need to waste a top 10 pick or a top 10 round pick on Vass if you don't need a goalie. If he went someone like me with Gustafsson, who's not yet a solidified top 5 goalie, but then I could understand a little bit more. Spencer Knight, LOL. Did he go? No, he didn't. Konechny went just before. That's a good pick. Wicked. On your game tonight, Wicked. So we went Wilson, Dursey, Larson, Freddie, Konechny. Good spot. I took Husso as my second goalie. Nichushkin, Pionk, and Nicolo. Nick. I'm just going to call you Nick. He's on the clock. How's your team looking so far? All right, so I like your forwards. A lot of shot first guys. Meyer, Fiala, Line, and McKinnon. D is solid. Again, not any of the elite D, but Morrissey's going to be solid again. He's going to be PP1, so probably similar to my kind of tiering of D. Let me add some more guys to my queue. Hopefully no one steals a bunch. I'm going to add Miller. Don't know if I want to take Brant Clark, even though I like him and his possibility. And then we're getting into the really, really deep guys. Barry's still there, who, you know, Yossi's getting up there in age. He's 33 now, so if anything kind of injury-wise lingers, then he's going to step in on the PP1 there. Ekblad and Stash for second half is something to consider this late. I agree. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. Even so, though, I'm a little hesitant with especially how Montour's playoff went. That even when Ekblad comes back, is he going to be PP1? So there's that question too. Although he's still a good overall D, especially as my fourth. Klingberg's still there. I don't mind him too. I think he's a little bit too comparable to Anderson in terms of not doing a whole lot other than points and power play hope. I guess Anderson blocks a little bit more than Klingberg, but exactly like I thought. So unless Vass keeps slipping, I might pass for a little. Yeah, you can wait on him. Let someone else take that risk that's dying for a goalie. Ekblad, okay. Yep. Trocheck's still there. I'm not afraid to take him if I have to. Now we see that plethora of centers here. Just look, everyone's a center except Jamie Benn. It's too bad because there's like it kind of like devalues the position where there's a lot of guys like Horvat was on pace for like 50 goals with Vancouver, and now he's not even being drafted really. So he might be a late pick for someone, but it's too bad because these guys deserve to be going in fantasy, and they're like guys that you have to mention when you're talking about that team, but just the position that kind of screws them over. Kuzmenko's another good one. You know, I like him for goals. This league does value goals. You get 6 for a goal and 4 for an assist. So, you know, another 35, 40 goal season from him is a possibility, but just his shot total there. So you can see he had 143 last year and he's projected for 155. Like, that's an insane shooting percentage, and he's going to regress a little bit. He's not going to score at the same rate he did. So there goes Kadri. I like that. And Jarvis. So some centers there. I will cue Patty Kane in Chris's name. I know he took some heat for taking him. Zaka, I'm just going to be a victim of the center position. You know what? I will take Ekblad. I don't know if I'm going to. He's out longer than Montour. It's tough. He's an injury bug too. Okay, I'm going to take Keandre Miller here. Pretty well-rounded, 45-point capability, 100 on his shots, hits, and blocks. So that's fine for a fourth D. Kind of can let me focus on my center sleepers now, or the guys that are falling. Let's see. Like that Ehlers pick at 144. Yeah, I mean, I'm an Ehlers fan too, and it's just tough to get behind him when he just does not get any opportunities to kind of be that top line guy that he can be. I think he's shown we've seen flashes from him of him being really elite, and then he goes on to play like 14, 15 minutes the next night. So Link took my pick with Barzal. Yep. So there you go. It's not just me that you have to worry about. Chris took him in FPPL. Ehlers or who are you talking about, Edward? Oh, in the Metro, he's still a free agent because we can't stash him on the IR Plus. Oh, interesting. You can't put IR on IR Plus? I thought you could. What's your thoughts on Connor Brown? Cody asks. It's tough to say. He's like a useful player. Sorry, we see Q take Aaron Ekblad there, so probably following Canucks strategy. That's a good pick there after 150. Yeah, Connor Brown, I mean, he's going to be strictly reliant on his line mates, so if he's not playing with Connor McDavid, then there's no point to even consider him, really. He could end up being another Ty Ratty kind of scenario. I don't know if you guys remember him. He had a really, really good preseason, Ty Ratty, and was supposed to be, the next good line mate for McDavid, and he kind of fizzled out really quick. So Brown's a little bit more distinguished than Ratty is, and he's had a better career, so even if he doesn't play with McDavid, he's still probably going to get you 40 points, but he's not really someone to go out and target. If you want to take him with your last pick or two, then I don't mind that. Cousins still there. He was when you asked it, Sheldon, and he just went a couple picks ago. He went 3 after me, so Nick took him. The other Nick, not the Nicolo. Patty Kane. Yes, Patty Kane. Chris took him in the Creators League last night. Okay, Kane's NA. Yeah, that makes sense because he's not on a team yet. Let's see. So the Vegas goalies go. Nate takes both Vegas goalies. I like that. He's done that twice now where he's taken teammates. Serg and Hedman back to back. And Logan Thompson and Aiden Hill. There goes Suzuki and Raymond. That's a good kind of flyer to take. You never know what's going to happen with Raymond. A couple good pick options here left still. I like Jenner. Covers categories. There's a little bit more competition for him this year, I think, with kind of the young guys coming up. Like Kent Johnson is going to hopefully take that next step. Obviously Fantilli and just kind of guys to take those minutes away from him. The reason why Jenner was so useful last year is because he was still playing 20 minutes that we would have expected him to play kind of when he was younger, but he was still playing it last year, and he was a great fantasy option in Bangers League, so I still like him. But you have to kind of keep an eye on how Columbus's lineup goes. There we see Patty Kane. All right, I'm up again. So Ben went, Power went. I'm going to take Barbashev here. I like the situation he's in Vegas. I like the Vegas team, obviously, because I have at least March or so. I was going to take Petro, so I could say 1 or 2 Vegas guys. So I'm a believer in Barbashev. He had a good playoff last year. Hits a little bit, too. So plays that dual eligibility that I like, center, left wing. So I will take Barb here. What do you guys think of the team so far? Not my best so far that I would say this year. I haven't done a ton, but even in my mocks, I don't think it's my best, but it's gonna compete. I think we'll have a look at a couple of the other teams. Let's see, Ezra. He got Matthews, Bedard, Brad Marchand, Boldy, Tarasenko. Okay, so he's got a few young guys and then a few vets like Tarasenko and Marchand. Dahlin, Hamilton, Falk, and Forsling. Okay, so he's got 2 really, really good D, which is going to help him a lot. As goalie, he followed the kind of guidance to a T. Went Markstrom, Levi, which I love. I would have taken either of those guys over Husso. But Levi went, I think, the round or two before I took Husso. Let's see, Korn's team. All right, so Timmy Stu, Hintz, Hyman, Nichushkin, and Nylander, and then Batherson. Okay, so he really loaded up on Colorado D2, Makar, Taze, and Byram. So interesting tactic. Like there's no plus minus, so that kind of sucks for loading up on a good team. But if something happens to Makar, like these two guys are going to be relevant. So we'll see how it goes. You're limiting as far as your potential point output. Like all three of them being involved in the same goal is pretty unlikely, or if not impossible. And then you got Hellbuck and Corpusalo, so kind of went along the lines with me with kind of a number one, and then I guess a question mark or a flyer number two on a decent goal. He should start, but not sure about the team. Ezra said in the chat, what Boda take Kane? Was Boda take Kane? Okay. All right. All right. Who we thinking here, chat? Anyone still sticking out to you that you've seen or you want to know if it's still available? D's really thinned out. Sorry, this turned into a Patty Kane chat. That's all right. He's a hot topic, so I'm sure a lot of people would want him on their team. Feel free to take a peek at my team. Yeah, sure, Wicked. I'll have a look. I'll go through some of the teams after too. Wicked so far. So he kind of punted centers to start, which is good and a smart tactic because you got Heischer and Larkin later than kind of those top tier centers. Ovi, Panarin, Pasta, Natchez, so pretty vet heavy there on the wingers. Then you went Carlson, Nurse, and Sanderson. So okay, I'm feeling a little bit better about my D the more I see teams because they're kind of going in that same direction where they have one or two really good ones and then they kind of go with some guys they like and not guys that are like surefire, even like offensive defensemen. So Nurse and Sanderson are both kind of not going to be PP1 to start, not going to be like 60-point guys, but I like them both, and I like Nurse especially with his hits and blocks. And goalie wise, he goes Shesterkin and Vanacek. So he kind of bets on Vanacek being the guy in New Jersey, which I could definitely see to start. He like a lot of people talk about Schmid and his value, but Vanacek had a great year last year, so he fizzled off a little bit, but I'm assuming that's the most we've seen him play. What's left with right wing eligibility? Let's have a look. So that's kind of what we're looking at for right wingers. Perron's still there. Arvidsson's still there, who I like. I like Arvidsson a lot. He's just slotted on third line right now. I can't get myself to take him right now, but we'll see later in the draft. I got 3 picks left. So Troy Terry's there. I like him still, but he's missing a couple. He's missing Zegras and Drysdale, who are kind of offensive dynamos on that team that lacks a little bit of offense. So I'm a little skeptical on Terry if he's going to be able to do what he can. And they also lost Killorn too, so he's out I think 4 to 6 weeks. I saw. So they're going to struggle for points where they might rely on him a lot, and that could end up benefiting him. But I don't know if he can do it all. And there's some other ones, couple I guess, like shots in the dark. Marchenko kind of along the same lines as Kuzmenko. Not just because they rhyme either, but again, another guy who had a lot of goals and just shot at a really, really high rate that might not last. Logan Cooley's still there too. That's another interesting pick. I don't mind him. I just don't know. I don't know about Arizona. They have a lot of middle 6 guys that are just all battling for top 6 minutes. So, all right, I'm going to. Don't know if I want to go Jenner because I just took Barbashev, who plays the exact same positions. I might go Terry, even though I was just kind of talking down on him. I think I know there's Ghost and Wallman, and Shea had a great year last year too. Okay, I'm going to take Barry, and I will not pray for Yossi to get hurt because I like him, but if he does get hurt, I'm gonna be happy. What does your bench of 4 players usually look like? Michael asks. Okay, that's a good question. I don't really have a specific like position that I want all the time. It's kind of I go with best available a lot as I do kind of throughout the draft. Uh, Best available plus guy I like more so, but I try and at least have 1 or 2 forwards, 1D minimum. If you want to do 3 goalies, you can, and then you got to make sure you have like kind of a winger and a center. Um, but you know, definitely a couple wingers is what I would say have to be on there, and then at least 1D. So. What about taking Riley Smith? Cody asks. Yeah, he's not bad. I think if I'm going to take a winger on Pittsburgh right now, it's going to be Rust, not Smith, just because I like what Rust has done in the past, and he's had that chemistry already while Smith is coming onto a new team. Arvidsson gives some cover at both wings. Yeah, I like Arvidsson still. We'll see. Well, I have to add some more guys to my queue. I got 2 picks left. I don't need any more D. Unless someone crazy is there. Jenner's still there. Rust is still there. I'm going to add Troy Terry. And then I have to decide if I want another goalie. I don't think I do because I feel like some goalies will start to emerge early in the year. Like if I need to pick up Fleury because Gus is hurt or isn't playing well, I always can. Wyatt Johnson's there. I wish he wasn't a center, but he is on here, so I cannot really afford to touch him. There's Velarde. I will queue Velarde just in case. He should get winger eligibility soon. Drysdale. I just don't know what's going on with the contract situation for him, but when he does come back, I assume he's going to be PP1. The guy that I think is going to start PP1 is this guy here, Olin Zellweger. You gotta look up his stats on Elite Prospects or something. He's been like a producing machine everywhere he goes. So he's a really good offensive defenseman. If Drysdale doesn't start the year, he's gonna my guess for PP1, and I don't like him. I don't mind him in deep leagues. Falk, Ghost, or Miller for my 4th D. I would go Falk. I think Falk does what Miller does and has a better opportunity at potentially being PP1. All right, so Wicked takes Brant Clark, and Q takes Kopitar. I have to decide now if I want to take a right winger. So I got DeBrincat who can play, Rant, Marchessault. So I have 3 right wingers, and I have and Miller. So I got 4 right wingers. I don't really need a right winger. I think I'm gonna take Jenner. I know he's exactly what Barbashev is, but between the 2 positions, I will have enough, so I will take Jenner. So 1 pick left. Again, thanks for watching this, guys. I'll go through the teams after if you want to stick around and get kind of a quick analysis on the teams, who went where and whatnot. Definitely drop a like before you go. Thanks for tuning in as usual, spending your football Sunday with me. I think it went well so far, so no issues, no complaints. I'll definitely pop on for some more streams later on. Corrupt. I'll take a look at your team after. Let me make my last pick and kind of wind the draft down, and then I'll take a look at all the teams. So if you're in the league, definitely stick around. If you want to learn, if you want to check out some of the teams that I'll be going up against, then stick around. I'll take a peek through all of them quick. It's been fun so far. So Johnson. Let me pop this draft up. So I took Jenner, then Korn went Hannafin, who I like. He's a pretty underrated D. Wyatt Johnson, Vejmelka. So he's, Taze is Huto Makar. Nicolo is taking the volume play there with Vejmelka. He should be the clear number 1 there. Hartman goes. I don't mind him. He's got right wing eligibility too. Are you live streaming the FPP Central one? Okay, so the one that's tonight, I think, is the northern one. That would have started at 7:15, so it's ongoing right now. The other two that we have left, we'll try and stream both. It'll kind of just be about which of the four of us are available, between myself, Mike, Chris, and Noah. But we're gonna try and stream the remaining two for sure. It's just gonna be about who can do it and who's got the bandwidth. So Landeskog was supposed to be 1 to 2 weeks last year. Hopefully Gensel isn't the end result. Oh, I did not hear that about Landeskog being only 1 to 2 weeks last year, but that was a tough situation and still tough. Like we'll see if he ever plays again. Vrana goes. I like that. That's a good flyer for Link. So I'm into my last pick here. I think I know who I'm going to take. I'm going to not say it yet because we got a long way to go. That one is on the 8th. Yeah, so the 8th, I think we got 2 on the 8th. But, yeah, we're going to try and stream them. Depending on what time it's at, I might be able to. I know I have plans on the night of the 8th, but we will we'll discuss amongst ourselves and try and get us, like, we like the streams as much as you guys do, right? So we will try and get as much of it out as we can. It'll just come down to bandwidth. So with 4 of us working like full-time jobs, this is kind of what we fill the rest of our days with. So my girlfriend doesn't like it, but I do a lot. So that's what we kind of try and do around our free time. You guys are killing it. Thanks. Good stream. Thanks a lot, Cody. Appreciate it, and thanks for tuning in. Definitely drop a like and spread, share it with your friends. I know it's kind of a touchy subject to share FP with like your league mates or your friends because you kind of want to save it for yourselves, but it does help us out a lot when you share it and when you promote us. So we appreciate it and keep it up. Okay, I'll flash this up again. So at the turn, we had Vrana, Hart, Jeremiah went Hart, Norris back to back. I like that Norris pick. Braden Shen, Pacioretty, who I don't know if we have an update on in terms of when he might be back or if he'll be back. We know he came back last year for like a really short period of time and then got hurt again. So he's had a really tough end of his career, and it's too bad because he's a really, really good fantasy player when he's healthy, and when he was on Vegas and even in Montreal, like, he was pretty useful. So he's a high shot volume guy. Yeah, this was a quick draft, so an hour 10. It's pretty good. Share after the draft. Yeah, you can if you want. So there goes Arvidsson. Guy takes him. I got screwed on defense. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like I'm not the only one. I'm gonna go through these teams. Someone's gonna have a lot of good D, I find, or a couple guys are gonna have a ton. So assuming Korn doesn't take my guy, I will. I think Math set it up earlier. Pointed Velarde out to me, so I will take Velarde, assuming Korn does not. And he does not take Shea, so I like that pick. Shea's a perfectly fine bench D. Everyone overdrafted in D-men. I agree, and I'm not just saying that because I didn't get great ones. But all right, let's go Velarde here. So hopefully that Winnipeg opportunity pays off for Velarde. He had a good start. He's got to just keep it up for a full season. All right, 5 picks left here. Sharangovich, great pick. Another guy that you guys got to watch out for. I honestly think he might be the runner-up for Calder. Is this guy Coronado? I like him a lot. He's had really, really good results so far in preseason, and he was producing in the States in college. So he's someone I want to keep an eye on in deeper leagues. There was one deep league I was in that he would have been perfect for. Not in it this year because I don't even know if the guy's running it, but he's someone I like for any leagues with rookies. What's the strat with D-Man? Anthony's asking in the chat. I would say kind of what happened in this draft where they went really quick is to kind of take them earlier. I think I took my first one in the 4th round, which normally wouldn't that be that bad, but did not turn out great in terms of my D. But I'm happy enough with my team. So let's take a look at some of these. So how do I go to the teams here? All right, so we will start at the top. First overall, Jeremiah, went Crosby, McDavid, Stamkos. So some good forwards, a lot of vets: Stammer, Crosby, Pavelski, Giroux. With the vets, the D core is really good. I think in this league it's going to be a pretty good one. Hughes, Werenski, Doughty, Weegar. He took Hughes when I was going to take him, so I don't like that. And then his forwards are all guys that are going to be top 6. So Schmaltz, Bertuzzi, Ehlers, and Norris, and they took Spurgeon for the D. Hart and Skinner, I don't love the goalie tandem there. Campbell's still around. He's still got a long time on his contract, but that should be fine. Hart's going to at least play the majority of games, but the wins might not all be there. Moving to second overall, Link. We haven't looked at his team yet. Dry, Barkov, Caulfield, Buchnevich, Reinhardt, Barzal. So I like these wingers here. Buch and Reinhardt are really good. I think when he got Buch 98th, which is earlier than his ADP, but more closer to where he should be going. So he also took Caulfield. So 26 goals last year. Yeah, who's gone for 31. High 30s is definitely doable for Caulfield. D, he's got Carlson, McAvoy, Shabbat, and Matheson. So he ended up getting Matheson, which I like as your 4th D. He also took Klingberg. So hopefully he's hoping for PP1 for Klingberg. Link is. Otherwise, Carlson was one of the guys I kind of said went a little early, along with Yossi, but he's a PP1 on Ovi's power play, so he's going to get a lot of power play assists. And then you went Georgiev and Kemper, so I don't really think there's any issues with his goalies. He's got a surefire number 1, probably a top 5 fantasy goalie in Georgiev, and then Kemper's going to see the volume in Washington. Ezra here, so we went Matthews. We saw him take a good mix of young guys in Boldy and Bedard, and then the vets with Marchand and Tarasenko. His D, I think, are the best I've seen so far. Dahlin, Hamilton, Falk, and Forsling, and he also took Gudis, so that's a pretty solid D core. Evander Kane's a great pick. If he's healthy, he's going to be really useful and way outplay his ADP. And he followed FB's suggestions to a T. Like that screen, I would screenshot this and kind of use that as a guidance for your goalies in your next leagues. Okay, Nicolo. I looked at him a couple times because he was taking some interesting guys. Some guys I like here. Meyer, Fiala, both really good shot guys. Line A2 when he's healthy. Got a new coach there. No Mike Babcock, so we'll see how that plays out for him. His D, Morrissey, Dobson, Theodore, Hughes. So no issues with that. Probably better than mine. Hughes is a kind of, I guess, a good question mark where I'm not really worried about what he's going to do. I'm more so worried about how much Dougie's going to influence his production, his output. So we'll see how we'll see what New Jersey does with him. But a fine 4th D nonetheless. He has some good centers on his bench. Kadri and Horvat, so I like the Calgary bounce back this year. Kadri will be a part of that. Good shot total. Saros and Vejmelka, no issues with that. So good volume. So he liked the volume, the 0.6 points for a save. He should get a lot of saves from these guys, but also the wins might not be all there. Bry guy, I like his forwards. These are all top 100 guys. Most of them are top 50. Point, Aho, Kachuk, Marner, all elites. Then we got Skinner and Jarvis, so he's relying on that bounce back from Jarvis. D is Fox, Jones, Letang, and Pionk. Okay, so these 3D are really good. I have no concerns with his D, and he did not take any for his bench, so let's hope Pionk stays rosterable, or he's going to have to kind of scrape the bottom of the barrel to pick someone up. McCann in utility spots, so we know he's good for those 40 goals. And then he went with some youth and a couple guys that FP's pointed out. So Mike and Chris have mentioned Hayton and Wyatt Johnson before. They're both guys that have a high potential and are kind of just getting into their own. So, and then his goalies, Bob and Vasilevsky. He only went 2 goalies, and Vas being out for 8 to 10 weeks, so he's gonna have to pick someone up to be relevant in the goalie categories. But that's minor. He could probably drop one of these guys. I'm gonna assume he's gonna drop Johnson because I think he took Hayton earlier. Yeah, about a round earlier. So, Corn on the cob. He went with Stutzel, Hintz, Hyman. Okay, yeah, so he took Makar. That was his first round pick, and he took him 6th, which is a little earlier than we see him going. We usually see him at the tail end of the first round, but Stutzel, Hintz, Hyman, I like all 3 of those guys. They're fine. Hintz, he got 78th, so that's kind of where I like him. That's around where I got Aho last night. Batherson and Nylander are fine right wingers. His D is pretty solid, but we were saying he took 3 Colorado D, so he's kind of minimizing his games and he's minimizing his point opportunities. So I'm not saying they're not going to get equivalent points to my D or someone else's D, but all 3 of them have no opportunity to get the same amount of points as my D on any given night. Toffoli, Fantilli, Teravainen, Hannafin, and Shea. So he's got a D on his bench, which I like to see, and his goalies are pretty fine. They're similar to mine in terms of what I was saying earlier. A number 1 with good volume, and then Korpisalo should be the number 1 in Ottawa. My team, I can run us through it a little bit. Not my favorite, but it's doable. So I took Rantanen first. There was some question over Pasta, but I like the team that Rantanen's on more. Then I went JT Miller, mentioning that kind of stats that I liked about him with his hits and points that not a lot of players can do. Then I went to Brinkett when I probably could have gone with a D, but I ended up getting Bouchard next. Rounded out my D with Dunn, Rasmus Anderson, who should be PP1, and Keandre Miller, who got some PP2 time last year and is also a good hits and blocks guy. My wingers are who I'm most happy about and content with. So DeBrincat, Gensel, Rant, Marchessault, and then on my bench I have Barbashev and Jenner, who can play center left wing, and Forsberg for left wing. So Forsberg, a guy that could easily be slotted up here and have gone a lot earlier than 114th. I've seen him go top 100 plenty of times. Gus and Husso are going to get the job done. Not obviously top 5 or top 7 fantasy guys even. You could argue that for no problem with my goalies. We'll see Wickeds now. His goalies, Shesterkin, Vanacek. Again, no issues with that. That should be fine. He kind of waited on his centers a little bit. Didn't take one until 65th. He went heavy on the vet wingers, and the D he went with Erik Karlsson as his main guy, and he waited also until his 4th pick, it looks like, to take one like me. Sanderson and Clark, good 2 young guys that I like both, and again, high ceilings, high potential for them. Connecting was a really, really good pick. I like that at 137. Trocheck, similar to Eriksson Ek, pretty good peripheral-wise. He's going to get you your hits. He's going to get you your shots. Even on a third line New York Ranger team, he's gonna produce. So I don't have concerns about that. There's more concerns they have to worry about than Trocheck on their team with like Kako and Lafreniere. Sharon Govich, another good pick at 200, so he's had a really good preseason from what I've heard as well. Let's move on. Cucumbers, so haven't looked at his team yet. He went Hughes, Thompson, Connor, Nuge. Nuge is a really good PP guy. He's going to lead his team in power play points for sure. Jesper Bratt, Mark Stone, so don't hit Mark Stone. We know that. We'll have to see if he can stay healthy. Morgan Riley, D'Angelo, Ekblad, and Power. I don't love the decor. Power's kind of a nothing skater. He doesn't do a whole lot for fantasy, but that's not to say Dahlin doesn't have a chance to get hurt or something to happen to him, and he can kind of step up into that PP1 role. Ekblad's out, so he's going to have to do a little bit of work on his D. He can probably drop Seguin for another D. D'Angelo is going to be PP1, I think, but he's also got Burns to compete with. And Riley again. So D is a little bit questionable. I'm feeling a little bit more confident on my D, but his wingers are and his forwards are definitely very strong. Allmark, Freddie, and Swayman. So we tandemed Boston's goalies, which are great. They're going to get wins. And then Freddie to round that out. Nick's world-class team. So we had two Nicks in here. He went J-Rob, Pedersen, Lindholm, Svetch. I like those. So pretty young forward core here. Raymond and Tippett are kind of just, the tip of the iceberg in terms of what we know they can do. His D is pretty good. These top three are solid. Seider, Petro, and the Chikrin that we saw in Arizona is what Nick's hoping for here. So he has to battle Chabot and Sanderson, but anywhere close to what he was in Arizona, where he was shooting consistently, is what we need from Chikrin for him to be kind of worth that 82nd round pick. And then he went center heavy on his bench. So Cousins I really like at 154. I like him in general. Nelson is a guy I talked about in one of my team preview articles. If you haven't checked that out, it's free on Patreon. So check that out. It's worth the read, especially if you like to get some content from your reading. And then he went Sorokin, Samsonov, and Gibson. So no question on his goalies. Is this going to kick me out? Yes, it will. I went too long. Let's see if I can bring that back up. I'll just go through the teams like this so I can finish it off. So where were we? We saw Nick's team. I think this is out of order. I don't know who I've seen. Dalton. I have not seen this team. So he goes with Cooch, Brady, Tavares. I like Beniers. I don't know what pick he was at. Can I see it here? But I was going to take him. I liked him. I don't know if it says where. History, it should say. 10th round. Okay, 110th overall. So that's solid. Anything after 100 is fine for Beniers, even though he's just a center. This guy had he won the Calder. No one seems to be talking about him as a legit center and number one. Heiskanen, Burns, Trouba, Dursey. So this is another really, really good D-core. And you got Hampus Lindholm, who had a really good start last year when the Boston injuries were there. So his D is someone that is a D-core that I'm going to be afraid of. He took Kuzmenko, who he's hoping for another 30 plus, and then he went with Hall. So hopefully Hall gets a little bit of a Bedard boost. And then Ottinger and Jari and net, no question that those guys will get the job done. Ottinger's top 5 fantasy goalie. Jari's going to have the volume. Even though he's a little shaky last year, DeSmith got a lot of starts. Jari was kind of hurt here and there. Hopefully he can stay healthy. Did I see Duncan McDavid? Yes, that was Jeremiah. Nathaniel, Nate's team, I did not see. Okay, so he took Kempe from me. I really wanted Kempe in all of my leagues that are shots, hits leagues. I like Kempe a lot, and he got him 60th overall, so I think it was a little bit early. But actually, no, it was fine. 60th is fine. Raquel, Wilson, Kreider, Kaprizov, and Kyrou. So he kind of went heavy on the D here. Yossi, Serg, and Hedman. He was one of the end picks, so he took Serg and Hedman. So regardless of who plays PP1, he's got him, which is good. And then he took Yossi really early too. So you can kind of see that the wingers aren't that, or he's got kind of one guy at each position that's going to be a question mark. The right wing's a little weak. That he probably saw the right wing faded out really quick. Raquel and Wilson. I'm not a huge Wilson fan. I guess I'll take him in bangers leagues, but you can see he's only 26% started, so the points aren't going to be there for him. Verhaeghe, he was dropped in the chat, name dropped in the chat. He's a good option. Should get some power play points too. And he went Malkin, Krug, and Perron. So Malkin there I like as a center. Put Kyrou. Oh, so he's got two right wingers up here. So he's got a little bit of flexibility. Perron. We'll see what kind of the young Detroit Red Wings guys do to him if his play time stays at what it was. And he goes Demko and the two Vegas goalies, so no issues in net. And I think we got one team left. We saw Nick's Huto Makar. We saw him. So I think we saw everybody's. Did we? Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've looked at everyone now. So it's good to see everyone's team. I like how things turn out. I'm a little bit more comfortable with my team after seeing everyone else's, that there was no one that took like 4 top 10 D or anything like that. Let me see the chat. What's the chat saying? How's Beanie Babies looking? I actually am on them right now, Dalton. So, yep, no issues really here. Your D are pretty good. True Buzz, a really good bangers D. Huberto pick I liked. Um, are any Patreon leagues still open? Jeff asked. So we got our 6th team full actually. I think last night. Noah confirmed. Um, if we start to see some kind of interest from close to 10 or 12 people, we can consider opening a 7th league. It's just going to be a timing issue. We really have to squeeze it in, kind of get the content and the schedule planned for a 7th league, and it also is a lot of bandwidth for us. So, Jeff, if you sign up for the Patreon too and you don't get a spot in the league, we're gonna guarantee a spot next year, regardless of whether you're a Patreon next year or not. So hold us to that. And also the Patreon's got a lot of good um, additional resources too, aside from the FPPL. So we got the custom projections that you can kind of tailor to your own league. We got some category league tools. We got the trade analyzer as well as posts there for team previews, and we're going to do some weekly and monthly posts. We also got the weekly schedule, which I think a lot of people are skipping over because they're so excited about the projections. There's a nice weekly schedule that Noah and I made. It's kind of got each week broken down, so who plays the good teams, who plays the bad teams, and just kind of shows the off nights, shows stuff that you're going to want to look to for streamers and whatnot. But yeah, the Patreon's got value even if you don't get a FPPL team this year. You think Skinner would be a good pickup as your number 1 goalie? As in a pickup like in a draft, or are you picking him up for your number 1 goalie? Because I would like to see who you drafted for your goalies. I like Skinner. I think he's probably going to get majority of the start share, but not maybe that 70% that you're going to want to look for your number 1, because as I said, Campbell's still there. Mask Ranger rips baseball cards. I like baseball cards. I collect a few. Second to last pick, I went Vrana. Is Cooley a good final pick? Yep, I like Cooley. Or Spencer Knight. No, I'd go Cooley over Knight. I think Cooley's got a lot of name value too. So even if he starts off not amazing, but good enough to keep rostering, you can trade him because a lot of people like the name. Managed to get to Crosby, Malkin, and Gensel. Thoughts? Points league. I also have Huberto, Matthews, Zib, Lindholm, and Svech. Sounds like your team's pretty good, Green Toad. So you went Pittsburgh heavy. Those vets are still around and still going to be producing for your fantasy team, so I like them. You just got to hope they stay healthy and that Pittsburgh kind of stays in it, but I think they will. They got Dubas there, so he'll make some moves if he needs to. When you get a second, could you look at my team in Discord? Yep. Yeah, St. Louis Goofy. I'll have a look at the Discord. I'm just going to wrap this up. I will take this sweater off because I'm boiling hot now in front of my computer, but I think this went well, guys. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in and looking, checking out the draft. Again, drop a like if you haven't already as you're heading out on your way out before you click that X. It's one extra click, and we really appreciate it. So we will see you next time on the next Fantasy Puck stream. There's going to be a couple videos posted this week. So thanks a lot, guys, and have a good night. Take care.